digital radio. No more hiss, crystal clear sound, lots of choice, but AM and FM switched off. That was the deal. But in terms of that process, government, manufacturers and broadcasters have had to go back to the drawing board and adapt the plan, because building public interest from scratch has proved harder than expected. Here at Pure Radio's Hertfordshire headquarters, as engineers test and design the innards that make digital radios work, they made a commercial decision to create sets that get both signals.
If you actually go back about 10 years, companies were shipping digital-only sets, and it became very clear very quickly that not only the UK but all international markets, the transition to digital would be a relatively slow process, with many steps along the way as transmitter networks, etc., roll out. And it was important that there was the capability for the radios to both take care of the digital signals but also analog signals as well.
That's a recognition that even though they're world leaders in digital radio, and that this country leads the world in hardware and software inside them, in terms of the method of transmission, which they don't control, the public seem not to be entirely on the same wavelength.
The original idea was that when digital listening reached 50%, people would have 2 years to switch over. Now, digital listening is below that, so what I'm saying is I don't think we should give people this narrow 2-year window. I think instead we should look for digital listening to be 75% before we decide on the switchover date.
So far, only a fifth of us have switched. Just 1 in 20 have it in our cars. Smaller FM stations have complained at the much higher cost to broadcast, and that coverage in areas is patchy. And of course, if you don't have a digital set, if analogue is switched off, you'll have to buy one.
In the middle of a cost of living crisis, I think that's just a cost that people don't need. It might cost somebody between £20 and £50 at home and £100 to convert their car, and that's really quite a lot of money.
But digital will be the future, that's not in doubt. Next week the government announces plans for that timetable, and the industry, a UK success story, is wary. When it comes to processor core technology, the kind of electronics that's driving this graphics program and makes digital radios work, Britain leads the world. But when it comes to business, and all businesses, the last thing they want and need is uncertainty.
Once you've got certainty, a business like ourselves, we can actually plan around that, but there's lots of ancillary businesses. The radio stations, the retailers can plan around that and make sure that they're actually preparing their product range, their product strategies and their delivery of digital radio ready for the consumer. But ultimately, it's what's in the best interest of the consumer. And today, if we're able to give a certainty to digital radio switchover, consumers can start to make sure that when they're buying a new radio or a product with radio inside, that digital is standard in that product.
It seems in the world of digital radio, politicking has potential risks, and nobody wants the idea to become a complete turn-off.